Hey, this is Tim Ripper Owens.
Hi, this is Mark from Dragon Force.
This is Nora from Battle Beast.
This is John Yelland of Judicator.
Hi, this is Ida from Trisphere, and you are listening to the Great Metal Debate podcast.
Hey, podcast listeners, welcome back to the show for another metal artist interview. I'm joined by Samuel Nyman from MANIMAL. I'm in the lair of the MANIMAL. I thought it would be a cave or old factory, but it's actually a beautiful courtyard Marriott. Samuel, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you very much.
So we're here in Atlanta, Georgia at ProgPower USA. What's it been like to play this festival?
It's been beyond expectations. Completely awesome. It's our first time in the United States, and we didn't know what to expect. We knew that we had a growing following here in the States, but we could never expect such a receivement that we got yesterday at the festival, and yeah, completely awesome.
Yeah, I was in the crowd when you guys hit the stage, and there were a lot of people who were singing along. They were excited to see you for the first time.
Yeah, obviously. And as I said, we didn't expect the place to be packed. Since we were the first band to play that day, we thought that people may be still asleep. But yeah, it was almost packed, And as you said, people singing along, and they I tried to it wasn't hard for me as a singer and a frontman to get people to join us in the show and clap along, and raise their fists and stuff. So, yeah.
Now, when a band has been around as long as MANIMAL has, you guys were founded back in 2001, I believe. How big is it to have a milestone like this, to get to play a ProgPower, reach a new audience?
Yeah, this was definitely one of the spots on our bucket list. You got you during the years we have. You start out maybe with a low level of expectations for your career, even though we live with the dream of the big arenas, of course, but still you have certain goals, and we rise that for every achievement we rise that a little bit, and to go across the Atlantic Ocean and play here in the United States has been on the bucket list for a long time, and especially ProgPowers. We've heard a lot of good stuff about ProgPowers from other fellow musicians and who has been here and playing it, and they say that it's such a great festival. The crowd is great, and the whole arrangement is awesome. So it's definitely been on our bucket list, and now we can. What do you say? We can check that, and yeah.
And I know you guys met with fans after the show. Did you meet some folks who hadn't heard of you before but were excited about the performance?
Yeah, a lot of people. Some people who came up to us after the show hadn't heard us before, and I think that is the best. What do you say in English? That is the best feedback you can get as an artist. But when you play and somebody who hasn't heard you before, and they like what they hear, even though they haven't heard the songs, and they still come up with you afterwards and approach you and give this feedback. That's the best feedback you can get as an artist, I think.
Well, speaking of feedback, I was really impressed by the energy you guys brought to the show. I knew I'd like your music, having been able to hear it, but I felt like you guys were just killing on stage, and that the crowd fed off that. How important is it that the crowd is bringing you all energy? Does that create a feedback loop where you even become more energized?
Yeah, we always go out on stage with the same kind of energy, but of course you are affected of the response you get from the audience. We can't deny that, and even though as we try to act as professional as possible, even though if it's 5 people in the audience or 5,000, you try to put on the same show, but it's hard to avoid that your energy level kind of drops if you don't get the response from the audience. But I feel like we got the response we hoped for at this show at the ProgPower from the very first second and until the last one. So yeah, but it's important. Yeah, it is.
Now, from over here in the States, when I hear a band is from Sweden, I'll be honest, my assumption is they're probably like a melodic death metal band. But you guys show there's a lot more to Swedish metal than just mellow death. Yeah,
for sure. I think there are a lot of great bands from Sweden in all subgenres of the metal genre. I think, and especially we have a lot of great power metal bands as well, and like you say, melodic death metal, and yeah, it's something, I don't know, it's something in the water, I think.
Well, let's turn to talk about your new album, Purgatorio, just released yesterday. What was the thought process behind this album, and how would you compare it to previous MANIMAL albums?
Yeah, if I should compare it to the previous ones, I'd say that we have focused even more on the riffs and on the harmonies for this one. And yeah, I think we have stepped up a notch when it comes to songwriting and yeah, to use a worn out way of putting it, it's our best album so far. It is definitely. And I think that there wasn't a main idea from the beginning. We didn't have a theme or something that we wanted to follow. We just start out with trying to write varied songs, different tempos and feelings, and we go from there and see where it ends up, you know. And so there was no main thought behind the album, but then it turned out that many of the lyrics they circled around the same theme, but yeah, I would say we started out with just we wanted to write a bunch of great songs, and so I guess that is the main thought behind each album, I would say.
Well, I agree they're great songs. I've had the pleasure of listening to the album, an advanced copy of the past few weeks, and it strikes me this may be the most varied MANIMAL album as far as there's plenty of the power and aggression from the older albums, but also a lot of melody and maybe some new musical twists and turns you've thrown in there.
Yeah, I mean, we try new stuff, and even though we have no what do you say, we just want to write good songs that we enjoy listening to ourselves, and if that happens to sound in a special direction, or the sound goes in a special direction, yeah, so be it, because we want to make songs that we like to listen to ourselves, and yeah, I think I lost the question.
Well, as I reflect on the show yesterday, I thought the songs from the new album mixed really well with the old material live. Was this the first time that you had played those new songs live?
Yeah, it was the very first time. So yeah, we were kind of nervous about the new songs, but you never know how they will work in a live situation. You know, you're in the rehearsal room and you try them out and you think, yeah, this could work, but you never know what the response from the audience will be. So it was a bit nervous, but I think it looks like people enjoyed the new songs as well, and that we will probably try a couple of more of new songs on our forthcoming shows and tours, and try out to see which ones fits the best in the set, and which ones are most appreciated by the audience, because we want to put on a show, and we want to include songs in our live set that fits the live part of our music. Yeah.
Like the title track, Purgatorio, when you played that. I mean, it's a great song. I honestly wasn't sure how that was going to come off live. It was even heavier live than it is on the album, I thought.
Yeah, that one, I think we were particularly nervous about that one because, yeah, it's a fast one, and it has a lot of backing harmonies and keyboards and stuff, and we didn't know how it would sound live, but according to what you say, obviously it worked.
It was great, and I heard people singing along. So now our podcast is a debate between the old school classic metal guy and the modern metal approach. So we debate things like who's the greatest heavy metal singer, Rob Halford or Floor Jansen. And so I'm thinking about that. I think about your band and how you guys, I think, are able to kind of straddle both sides of the fence. You definitely have those classic metal influences, but I think a young person, 15, 16 years old, would find a lot that they're comfortable with as well. Is that what you're trying to create artistically, or is that just kind of how the music comes out?
I would say that is how the music comes out. As I said before, we make music that we like to listen to ourselves, and we have our deep roots in the classical heavy metal from the 80s and the 90s with bands like Judas Priest and Queensryche and the German power metal scene, like bands like Gamma Ray and Halloween. So but we try to make our own version of that. We mix them together and make our own version, and hopefully with a little modern twist to it, so it don't feel dated from the 80s. So I think that is just how it comes out. This is our version of how we think heavy metal music should sound like.
Well, and I'll give you some props, man. I got to see Halford back in the 80s, back on the Painkiller tour. Man, I'd put you up against him. Your vocals were amazing yesterday.
Oh, thank you. I envy you for have seen Halford back in the days. Even though I still enjoy see Halford these days, but I would definitely have given maybe my left arm to to have seen him on the Painkiller tour. Yeah.
Well, folks who see you are getting a little taste of it. I can just tell you that. Beginning to wrap up with you, Samuel. After your time here in Atlanta for ProgPower USA is over, what are the band's plans for the remainder of 2018 and promoting Purgatorio?
Well, to start with, when we come back home to Sweden, we'll have an official release party back home in Gothenburg, Sweden. After that, we are negotiating around some tour alternatives. So there will definitely be a tour in 2019, at least one, and festivals, summer festivals and stuff. Unfortunately, nothing I can speak of right now because we haven't settled the deals, but there will be touring to support this album for sure.
People should be watching online, following you guys to stay up to date because you'll have some news coming out shortly about those things.
Yeah, definitely.
Finally, what is the best way for fans to purchase music and merchandise from MANIMAL, including the latest album, Purgatorio?
Well, here in the United States, I would say maybe online, Amazon, and sites like that. And also we have our own web shop with merchandise at manimal.se. Our label has a label store, AFM Records. Check it out. I think it should be the album should be available almost everywhere.
And certainly, as you have live shows upcoming, that release show and others following, they should come out and see you all live. That's my recommendation. You guys killed it yesterday on stage, and people would be well advised to come see you perform and then meet you guys and buy the music and merchandise live from you at the merch stand.
Yeah, for sure. We always seen MANIMAL as a live band, actually, and we often hear that from people that, hey, you guys sound even better live than you do on record, and I take that as a compliment. Since we see ourselves as a live band. That is what we do the best, and that was what we enjoy the most doing. So come and see us.
Well, Samuel, thank you again. seeing you guys yesterday was one of the highlights of my trip here to ProgPower, and best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you very much.